You know, the thing about empathy is that it requires energy. It requires connectivity, right? And, you know, some people think empathy and sympathy are the same thing, and they're not the same thing. So, sympathy is the little performance that y'all do on here where you feel bad because it looks good to you to feel bad. That's sympathy. It's an act of acting. You don't actually feel bad, but it like looks good to feel bad in your opinion, so you feel bad. That's sympathy. Empathy is when you are literally feeling what the other person is feeling. That's empathy. When you put yourself in their shoes. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk because I cannot be in his shoes. I have no frame of reference for that. I have no cognizance for that. There literally is nothing about his existence that I can relate to. So I don't have any empathy because I have no connectivity. I have more connectivity to someone who is a complete stranger that dies of a overdose than I do to someone like Charlie Kirk, because life is hard. And I understand that. Because it takes very little for someone to end up committing themselves to an existence of numbness.
I am Savvy Mike, and this is I Am Savvy Mike TV. And would you believe I recorded this video already? Like, I already did this video. Like, I did this video already. 40 minutes of me yapping and talking the whole time. See, now y'all about to get the stripped down version of everything I just said on a mic that wasn't on. I don't even know if it's on now. I want to check, but then again, I don't. I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't know. I cut it. I swear to God, I cut the mic on. I said, okay, mic's on, because it wasn't connected. I was like, okay, it's connected. It's ready to go. It was popping up in the gain. I seen it in the gain feed, and then out of nowhere, I guess it just didn't record it. I don't know if it's recording it now. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it is. It is. Look, this is a weird way to start this video, because I just did all this passionate. The video I just made was one of the best videos I ever made in my life. Not even gonna lie. It was all on mute. It was all on mute. Like, we got into everything we needed to get into. It was very poignant. It was 40 minutes. 40-minute video down the drain. I just recorded for 40 minutes. Wasted my fucking time. That's why I'm not about to waste it now. Look. Charlie Kirk has sadly passed away. We're going to take the time out now to say rest in peace to Charlie Kirk and send condolences to his family. While I might not agree with anything the man had to say, and I thought he came off very racially charged and racist sometimes, I don't believe anybody should be dying over their opinions. That's number one. Nobody should die over their opinions. So I want to say rest in peace to Charlie Kirk, because nobody should die over their opinions. But at the same time, I don't like how people are treating this situation at the moment. They're calling him the next Martin Luther King Jr. In the video I did that you're never going to see because there's no audio in it. But in the video I did before I did this one, we watched the Megyn Kelly clip. This one, we're just going to watch the news reporting of it. Look, I'm just going to inform you in this, and we're going to rewatch what Amanda Seales had to say, because she had to say some very interesting things, and I definitely want to still put a spotlight. That's the only reason I'm still doing this, because she said something very poignant that I totally agree with, and I'm gonna wait to answer to that. But I just want to let everybody know, please don't compare this man to Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X or Fred Hampton or anybody from the 60s. He was not that type of revolutionary. He was what he is, a conservative activist. That's all he was. And if you fall under that banner and you like what he had to say and you like the message that he was preaching, then hey, that's what you like. My thing is, we should not be comparing him to people that actually changed America and changed the world for the better. Not for the worse, because a lot of the stuff this guy wanted was for the worse. It wasn't for good. It was to basically, he felt like white people were being oppressed after Joe Biden got in office, which is crazy for me to think. How do you think white people were being oppressed and Joe Biden's in office? But either way, so that was the main reason he was pushing the message that he was preaching, and pushing the message that he was pushing, and a far-right conservative, because he felt like Donald Trump was going to be the one to bring the whites from the oppression that they're in now, with all the people flooding the border and all this extra shit that they come up with. He was going to bring that and bring them back to the supremacy of the old days, during the 60s when it was white onlys and colored onlys, during the 50s and 40s when it was, everything was segregated. Black and white people didn't do anything together. It was very racist. Talk about a sundown town. That's what the whole country was. That's basically what they want. They want us to go back to those times where whites were the white supremacy that they want, and blacks were treated like shit, and anybody that didn't look like them was treated like shit in the bottom of their fucking shoe. So that's why it is kind of hard to feel bad about this. But honestly, all the energy that I had and passion I had for this subject, I laid it all in that last 40-minute video. So if I'm not as passionate as I was in that, I'm talking to me at this point. It is what it is. It is what it is. But at the same time, I'm still kind of telling you the basic points of everything I was saying. And then there's a few more points I'm getting to, but that's after we watch the Amanda Seales video. Anyways, let's watch the news report of Charlie Kirk.
Chaos and horror on a college campus. Conservative activist Charlie Kirk gunned down in front of a crowd at Utah Valley University. The state's governor calling it a political assassination.
Everyone's just scared. It's traumatizing.
I watched a fountain of blood come out of the side of his neck like a water fountain. And it was surreal.
I saw that he was shot in the neck and that he was squirting blood everywhere.
Witnesses describing the horrifying shooting death in broad daylight today of conservative activist Charlie Kirk on a college campus in Utah.
And another thing that I said in the last video that I want to say in this one, I feel like this looks like a Trump rally. Like, why you got a security guy right here? This looks like a Trump rally. So if you're going to do this out in the open like this with all these people here talking and debating with somebody for your YouTube channel just to get content, then you should be doing this in a more controlled environment. Because I know with the things that he was saying and the things that he was spewing, I'm sure he was getting death threats. Like most of the people that are on that far-right conservative side, the Officer Tatums, the Candace Owens, the Megyn Kellys, the Tommy Laurens, like I'm sure he fell in that same basket, and like all of them get death threats. I'm sure he was getting them same death threats. So while, yeah, you want to protect your vicinity area, bruh, the niggas that you be talking to and the niggas that listen to this own sniper rifles. So you might want to do this in like a gym or a building where you can at least check everybody that come in. And the only way something like this can happen is if somebody let this person in or they snuck in, or, y'all ever watch the show The Day of the Jackal? One of my favorite shows on Peacock, actually. I can't wait for that one to come back. That was a really good show. But Buddy basically had a gun in his shoe. Like or not even his shoe. It was like a boot. When you break your leg, you know how the doctor gives you a boot? They literally made a gun in the boot, and that's how he snuck into the place that he had to sneak into to kill the person that he was trying to kill. Bro, that's what would need to happen if you really take care and guard this perimeter like it should be. Like, I feel like if you are one of those type of people that say things that not everybody's going to agree with, you're not really pushing peace like Trump Trump made every government building in the country go half-mast at 6 o'clock for this guy. Why? Because he helped him get him in the office. That's the biggest thing. Turning Point USA basically helped all these young people go to the polls and vote for Trump. That's it. So, of course, Trump loves this man and holds him in a high regard. Probably should have just gave him a job, to be honest, so he wouldn't be. But I honestly, if I can be honest with you, I think Trump did probably offer him a job. He probably said no. He probably was like, no, I like doing what I'm doing. I like being a conservative activist content creator. Like, I like doing that because, you know, I feel like that's what's helping get our message out and helping the people and the youth understand how we really feel about things and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I just feel like this should have been done not out in the open like this, because this is a close-up shot to him moments before he had died. But if you look at the other video that it came out at first, bro, it was thousands of people in this rally, thousands.
Utah, the latest act of political violence in America. Tonight, law enforcement still looking for the person responsible.
Oh, yeah.
We believe this was a targeted attack towards one individual.
But he's still at large.
I want to be very clear that this is a political assassination.
And that is suspicious too. That's suspicious as hell that they have yet to still find this guy. Like, where is he? Like, he couldn't have been that far, right? I mean, shot came from somewhere. And I mean, but that does make sense too, because like I said, he didn't really have a perimeter type security. He didn't have Secret Service. So niggas go and check 200 yards out, check the perimeter, make sure this is, no, nobody wasn't doing that because he didn't really probably wanted to pay for all that security. Like, I don't need all that security. I'm just here to debate these college kids. Who gonna kill me? Somebody who don't like what you got to say, maybe. And if you give them an opportunity and the chance to take you out, they're gonna take it. You want to know the fucked up joke I said in the last video? I said whoever this guy was, this should have been a guy that was trying to get Trump when that time came. Remember Trump? Trump attempted assassination. This was the guy. Where was this nigga at? We got the wrong guy to try and kill Trump. We should have got this guy. Morbid, I know. Am I a cynic? Maybe. But that's just where my brain went when I found this out. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Just need every single person in this country to think about where we are and where we want to be.
A controversial figure, Kirk said he was no stranger to death threats, speaking on the George Janko show last year.
We get death threats all the time. You know, they come, they send stuff to our homes
he knew
and all
this.
that. And yeah, that's just par for the course. I mean, if you are not getting active death threats, you're not really doing much for the country.
The founder of the conservative organization Turning Point USA, an author and media personality, he built a massive following, particularly popular with young audiences. At just 26 years old, he spoke at the 2020 RNC, endorsing Donald Trump.
Trump is the bodyguard of Western civilization.
Considered family by President Trump, his influence outsized in the MAGA movement.
Charlie Kirk was seen as the force behind young conservatives. This was a guy that actually electrified that sector of the base. And for Donald Trump, this was a critical voting bloc in every time he was on the ballot. And to think that one of their own, someone that they saw as a kid, rise up over 10 years, to think that he's now gone, it has really rocked people in Donald Trump's orbit to their core.
Trump was the first to announce Kirk's death today, posting on his Truth Social account, saying in part, "No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he is no longer with us." Trump remembering Kirk in a video posted later.
Charlie inspired millions, and tonight all who knew him and loved him are united in shock and horror.
The 31-year-old leaves behind a wife and 2 young children. It was just weeks into the new school year at Utah Valley University. Thousands gathered to see Kirk, as captured on his social media, on the first stop of his American comeback tour this fall.
That's a lot of people, Utah, I'll tell you what.
Hosting debates between conservatives and liberals called Prove Me Wrong.
Get comfortable. Bring the best libs that Utah has to offer.
Just after noon, local time, Kirk sitting on a stool, talking to the crowd. And as he was answering a question about mass shootings in America, a single shot was fired.
Do you know how many mass shooters there have been in America over the last 10 years?
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Those were his last words. Do you know how many mass shootings it has been over the last 10 years? He went to relate it to gang violence. What does mass shoot and what? Like, how do you conflate the two? How do you even compare the two? And I would hate to debate a dead man, but these were his last words. Counting or not counting gang violence. What does gang violence have to do with mass shootings? Huh? Yo. I don't know what statistics you far-right conservatives be looking at, but whatever you looking at, they are literally feeding y'all stuff that ain't even true.
Witnesses hitting the ground, some chanting. Kirk's own private security detail took him from the location, a witness capturing the moment on video.
I pulled out my phone and recorded the security putting Charlie in the vehicle. I looked at his face and it was lights out. I mean, his eyes closed. He fell back. He did not move.
Some attendees criticizing the lack of security at the event.
We registered for tickets, but they weren't even looking for tickets. Anyone could just walk in. It was at probably the worst place in campus because there's so many areas where anyone can just walk in.
This is the police chief's nightmare. We did have 6 officers working that event. We had probably over 3,000 people that were in attendance.
Investigators say they believe the shooter was positioned in a higher location from where Kirk was speaking.
If you have an event that there's really no getting the people, check the people out before they come in. Probably should have done that, but even still, that wouldn't have worked in this particular situation. All of a sudden, you got a person on a roof. Outdoor venues.
Even the FBI guy agreed with me. Like I said, they should have did this. Once they saw it was this many people, hey, we're moving this to the gym. We're moving this to the gym. We're checking everybody that come in here. We're making sure you come in here, you ain't got nothing on you. We moving this to a controlled environment where the people up top are probably security. Ain't nobody up there but security. Like, that's where we moving this, because there's way too many people out here. That would have been my first thought if I was him. Like, if I was him, I've seen that many people, I'd be like, oh no, this is scary. Now, I would have probably, understandably, like, what, this is the love I get. People love me, or the white people, the Trump people, the young Trump supporters, they love me. This is what we do. This is why I'm here. They out here. This is a vibe, been feeling it. But damn. Yeah. But even knowing that he knew he was getting death threats. I knew he was getting death threats. So that's what I'm saying. I'm like, if you know that, then you should have did this in a controlled environment first.
Are extremely challenging.
Hours later,
you let it. You was rocking the other tours. You was doing this. This tour should have been like a stadium tour. Like, let's get official with this.
Later, authorities announcing that a person of interest was in custody, but FBI Director Kash Patel posting on X that the person was released after interrogation.
I want to make it crystal clear right now to whoever did this, we will find you. We will try you, and we will hold you accountable to the furthest extent of the law.
Political violence has become increasingly more frequent. In April, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's home was set on fire after an arsonist threw Molotov cocktails, upset about the governor's stance on Gaza.
I mean, this is sadly a real part of our society today, and it needs to be universally condemned.
In June, 2 Minnesota lawmakers were shot. The suspect had a list in his home targeting abortion clinics and lawmakers.
There's no place for this politically motivated violence in our democracy.
And last year, Trump surviving 2 assassination attempts, including one while campaigning in Pennsylvania. Today, Democrats sending their condolences. Former Vice President Kamala Harris writing on X, "I condemn this act, and we all must work together to ensure this does not lead to more violence." Mourners leaving flowers outside the Turning Point offices in Arizona. Trump ordering all flags to be lowered to half-staff in honor of Kirk.
We hear so much about young progressives, but Charlie Kirk and young conservatives, that is a movement that I think he's going to be tied to and remembered for quite some time.
We will, of course, continue to follow this story on all ABC platforms, including complete team coverage on GMA in the morning.
All of that was probably over some capitalist bullshit. Like they didn't give him a job that he wanted or something. That's it. So, what are y'all talking about? Oh, that was Ben Shapiro doing that? Damn. I don't even, to be very honest, they're all the same person to me. Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, they're all the same person to me. I don't. Well, dang. They're all the same person to me. Because at the end of the day, they all serve the same master. Why would you feel bad about it? You know, the thing about empathy is that it requires energy. It requires connectivity, right? And, you know, some people think empathy and sympathy are the same thing, and they're not the same thing. So, sympathy is the little performance that y'all do on here where you feel bad because it looks good to you to feel bad. That's sympathy. It's an act of acting. You don't actually feel bad, but it like looks good to feel bad in your opinion, so you feel bad. That's sympathy. Empathy is when you are literally feeling what the other person is feeling. That's empathy. When you put yourself in their shoes. I can't have empathy for someone like Charlie Kirk because I cannot be in his shoes. I have no frame of reference for that. I have no cognizance for that. There literally is nothing about his existence that I can relate to. So I don't have any empathy because I have no connectivity. I have more connectivity to someone who is a complete stranger that dies of a overdose than I do to someone like Charlie Kirk because life is hard. And I understand that. Because it takes very little for someone to end up committing themselves to an existence of numbness. I understand that. You know, some people think that they are an elevated being for having compassion for those that have none. And I don't see myself or measure myself against that. I don't imagine my soul within the context of this this bullshit realm. At the end of the day, there are people, humans if you will, who are incredibly harmful. Who want to see you harmed. And if having compassion for them makes you feel good, well, baby, I'm not going to stop you. But I'll be damned if you're going to be in my comments talking about, have we lost all compassion? No. No, we have not. We have not lost all compassion. I have incredible compassion.
And that's what I was battling with today when I saw the news. Because the first thing I could do was tell a joke or two. Like, I didn't really feel bad about a person dying that spewed the hatred and the things that he spewed and riled up the base that he riled up, which is kind of scary when you think about it. Like, you know, it's a lot of people that preach divisiveness. And if you ask me, Charlie Kirk was one of those people that would preach divisiveness. Hell, it's in his last words. Like, in his last words, he's being divisive. That's very divisive. Why are you relating mass shootings to gang shootings? That is divisive. Like, one does not have to do with the other. You're just trying to put the blame on people that are in those areas and situation, ergo people of color, because I know he ain't talking about no white gang shootings. So he's really talking about black people. You're just trying to equate what's happening with all the mass shootings in America to, oh, that's the black people doing it. Those were his last words. And like I said, I would hate to debate a dead man, but when a dead man dies saying some stupid shit, you kind of got to ask questions. and it's like, well, should I feel bad? I do feel bad, because at the end of the day, the reason why I might have sympathy, like she said, why I might feel bad, is because he's just a guy who had opinions. And while most of his opinions were fucking wrong and came off very racially charged and toned, at the end of the day, that's all he had was opinions. That's it. Like, even though it started to move the needle. Because like I said, that was a Trump rally. That wasn't no Charlie. Like, you had the 47. That was a Trump rally. You had the MAGA crowd. That was a Trump. He was throwing the hats. That was a Trump rally. That was a Trump rally, bro. While they were there to debate Charlie Kirk, I guess this was just the young people like, oh, this is just a way for us Trumpers to come together and cheer on our man Charlie Kirk while he goes against the liberals, the libs. Tear him down, Charlie. Tear him down. Tell him why the white race is the supreme one, or why we should at least go back to when we were supreme. Either way. I was about to end this video, but I saw another clip from Mark Lamont Hill, and it's an interesting caption in the clip, so I feel like something interesting might have been said. And this is the only video I'm doing today. I explained my schedule in the last video I did when the mic was off, but I'm not going to explain it this time. Every other day is when you'll see me. I'm trying to make it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday instead of Tuesday and Thursday, but you know, it is what it is. Maybe I'll use this as like, okay, Thursday I'll take a day out, and then Friday come back since we recorded today. Who knows? Either way, let's hear what Mark Lamont Hill had to say.
According to ABC News, at the time that the single shot rang out, and it was just a single shot, again, Kirk was having a back and forth with a member of the audience about the connection between being transgender and gun violence. Video circulating on social media shows blood pouring out of his neck after the shot was fired. Someone was detained after the shooting. It was not a white man, but that person is not the shooter, according to the university. No other injuries were reported. There's a lot going on with this, and I have some notes here, but I'm not even going to read them just yet. I'm going to talk about Charlie Kirk. I want to talk about what this means, and I'm going to offer some context. I'm going to offer some context for what I believe matters. The first thing, Charlie Kirk was killed by an assailant who we don't know yet. So I don't want to make assumptions about the political views or persuasion of the person who shot Charlie Kirk. I don't want to make an assumption that, certainly not a firm assumption that it was political. We don't know. That's what investigations are for. However, I think it is reasonable to assume that Charlie Kirk was killed for being a political voice, that he was killed for being a controversial voice, a voice that is divisive and unsettling to a lot of people. This is political violence. I don't find any pleasure or any joy in these types of moments. I don't find any justice in them. I don't find any pleasure or satisfaction in hearing or seeing that someone like Charlie Kirk has been gunned down, in all likelihood, for his political beliefs, although again, we can't confirm that. This type of violence for me is deplorable, and it's deeply disturbing and deeply dangerous. I don't want to see celebration that Charlie Kirk was murdered.
I can agree with Mark there. I can agree with Mark there. Like I said, nobody should be dying over their opinions, no matter how divisive they were, no matter what he was saying. You know, it's people that I listen to that I'm a fan of that people hate. You know, and so I would hate for something to happen to them just because somebody didn't like what they had, or even me. You know, so regardless of it, that's why I will have sympathy, but it is hard to empathize. So I'm saying I get what Amanda Seales is saying, but I also am where Mark Lamont Hill is with this situation as well. You know, nobody should be dying over how they feel. You know, whether it's as wrong as it is, whether it's as racially charged as it is, that shouldn't be happening. So regardless of it, it was wrong, and whoever did it needs to be held to justice. And be held an example of, to be honest, to show that, hey, if you just go off trying to kill political people in this space that are just talking heads, that like I said, conservative activist content creators, then you're gonna get the full brunt of the law. You're gonna feel it. Like the cop even said, they didn't play it in that news clip, but the cop even said the death penalty is not off the table in Utah, by the way. Like, he made that clear. So I get all of the jargon that's happening and whatnot, but I'm just still kind of confused why the guy hasn't been caught. Like, I get that he was probably far away, sniper shot, close enough to hit, but far enough to get away if he has to, clearly. But at the same time, I don't think we should still be wondering. Like, you think it'd be a full wide search, like everybody on their game right now looking for whoever did this. But we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. It'll get spookier by the day for sure. The more and more we go without knowing who killed this guy, the more and more the conspiracy theorists start going crazy. Start going wild. So I for the sake of my sanity and not having to hear so many conspiracy theories that make me think one way or another, please find this nigga and at least hope he say why he did it. And you like Mark said, you can assume that it was for his political views, but we don't know. Who knows? Charlie Kirk could have owed somebody some money, and they said, "Oh, I got you. You thought you was gonna get away from me? I got you." Know, you never know. You never know. So we shall see. We shall see. As the days go by, we'll find out more. And as more is found out, us over here at I Am Savvy Mike TV, we'll be digesting it all. Probably making a video about it. Either way, I am Savvy Mike, and this is I Am Savvy Mike TV. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. Nobody should be dying for their opinions, no matter how much I don't agree with them. But condolences to his family. Either way, peace.